Good morning. Hang on, let me just get my screen sorted. And main screen, here we go. Right, hopefully you can see my screen okay. Today's a leap day, 29th of February. You only get to say this once every 4 years. Happy leap day, if there's such a thing. I'm going to go through my pre-market levels, but before we do, we're just going to take a quick look at the news today to see what could be moving the market. So we had data jobless claims come in hot at 8:30. We saw a big move up, massive big move, and then we've got some news at 9:45 and 10. So just keep an eye on that. We've got Fed speaking. So when Feds are speaking, we can see a bit of market movement possibly. So just keep an eye on these hours. So 10:50, 11, and then we've got 3:50 and 1:15 a bit later. Okay. So let's look at the levels for today. As you can see, we've finally broken out of the hourly bear flag we've been watching, and we had this trend line. Let's just zoom out a bit further and just show you on the daily first. So on the daily, we had this trend line drawn in, linking going back to October 2023, and we linked up all of these paths, and you can see we came back and we retested that trend line yesterday, oh no, in fact today in the pre-market. So touched it, and we touched it twice, and we had a big reaction from it. So it just shows this trend line is still actively being watched. Don't think there's any coincidences, and it came into this demand zone as well. We've been watching for some weeks as well. So today's plan, we've now broken out over the top of this channel. Let's just extend this down. So we kind of had it around about there. We can extend that as well. So that's our channel we've been trading between over the last few days. And then yesterday we could see it happening because it's the halfway point of this channel, kind of narrowed it down and then broke out. So what I'm waiting for is a pullback into yesterday's high for a bounce. I want to try and find a trend entry if I can. So come back into yesterday's high, and I'm looking, and that's around 50.90, and I'm looking for a bounce around that point. Let's just re-update that point. Let's go. That was based. So that's the point I'm watching, and that is 50.87.50. So that's my bounce there I'm watching for. Tough to go short when we're so strong. You can still watch his head and shoulders, the left and right shoulder area at 51.06, or we can watch the all-time highs for a higher risk rejection. If SPX gets to 5100, which is not far off all-time highs, then I'll be looking for a short on ES. So let's just open up that. So you can see we reacted to it last time, got up there, rejected it, and hopefully it'll do something similar. So let's just put just this level in at 5100. Oh, what's going on? Oh no, I've been doing some testing. What's going on? I've been writing some scripts for Ninja Trader today. There's some test scripts running. Anyway, so this is our, where were we now? Sorry, 50.99. Just check. Okay, so back to where we are. So 50.99, 5100. We're looking for a potential rejection, and so this will be on the ES or the MES, and I imagine it'd be close to where we're watching at 51.10, 51.06. So that's the only rejection I'll be watching. Bounce wise, I'm looking for the pullback down to here, which is yesterday's high, or potentially a pullback down to the bottom of this trend line again, which is around about 50, 75. So they're the bounces I'm watching for. SPY, interesting thing to note, we've got this monthly chart up, and we can link the trend from Wednesday the 1st of March, that's 2000, that's almost 24 years ago, over 24 years ago, well exactly 24 years ago. We can link it to that pivot, and if you look, we're kind of right in coming into it. In fact, we touched it yesterday, so we're coming into this potential trend line on the monthly, so something to bear in mind. We could see potential significant overhead resistance at this point where we are now, and you can do the same on the SPX as well. So let's go into the daily, see where we are with volume. So we had a slight decrease in volume over the last few days where we pulled back, which is kind of what you expect on a pullback, and still in a strong uptrend. So we really want to treat the chart as treat the market as an uptrend. So hence why I'm looking for the uptrend entries. This is the SPY. You can see we broke out today, and we've got this base, so that's, if we come back down to that area, I'll be looking for a bounce, and that'll be off that top trend line. Looking pretty strong, so I kind of like the pullback into yesterday's high as well. What's going on? I think something's going on with my Ninja. I might have had some test orders running. I'm quite sure, I'll check that out in a minute. Looking at MMQ next, or SPX, we looked at SPX. So basically SPY, sorry about the disorientation. Yeah, SPY, I think the only rejection area has got to be coming into it right now, this area 509, but that's a high risk rejection, which I don't like. I prefer the all-time highs 510, but I still quite like the bounce down here again at the pre-market low today. And we've got this data candle as well, so we can keep an eye on that. One of my plays, which I have been watching for, is on the 5-minute data candle, looking for a rejection if it comes up, or a bounce coming into that area. I'm not sure whether it will be in place. It's too strong for a rejection. MMQ, we're kind of right in this area of resistance, and we've got high volume as well from the point of control. So I don't really, if we can break and hold above this area, then we could probably look for a long, but we really want it to pull back a bit. Again, we can target yesterday's high for the pullback, and then watch for a trend entry. If we break above it, we can watch for a pullback into this point of control, and that's the same for Qs. QQQ, exactly the same. Broken the trend, but we need to get above this area of resistance. I don't really like much on the Qs really, or the Nasdaq, but we can watch for a pullback and then a push back up. Oil, oh, look at this nice head and shoulders pattern. We're at the top of our range, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So the neckline happens to be pre-market low and yesterday's low. So maybe we can look for a break and retest that level to go back down. You could try and catch an entry on this right shoulder, but no, missed that boat now. And that's it really, nothing else. Target can be 77.20 and the point of control if we go short. Next up is gold. Gold looking pretty strong. It's broken out now. It's the area we said we're watching for the breakout. So if we can pull back into this area here, which is around 2050, 2048, then we can watch for a potential bounce. I kind of quite like the bounce around here. rejection wise, we're not far off it. 2062, tops of candles, but basically looking for a trend entry as well for gold, and we can watch for the pullback into this area, yesterday's high, and for the push back up. Next is, my webcam is white in the way so I can't see what the tabs are. Next is the Russell. We're coming into this area. I like the rejection on these shoulders down over here, which is at 2085 to 2090, and then obviously we got the all-time high for a rejection probably around that area there, 2094 to 97. As for a trend entry, we probably want to catch the pullback into yesterday's high, this area here. So if we can pull back, we can watch that. And then we've got YM, which is the Dow Jones. Again, everything's breaking out today, so it's all the same trades. Pull back into yesterday's high at 39,000. Kind of coming into an area of potential volume resistance, although over here we haven't got much volume. So we can watch for a rejection off of this head and shoulders up here, that area. That'd be higher risk, but I prefer the trend entry like on all of these. And then Bitcoin, that's been looking really strong recently. I got a little tiny bit of Bitcoin and I took a bit of profit on it yesterday. In fact, I took it when we were pulling back, so this red line here is where I took it. Around about, it might have been a bit higher than that. It was around about 5 PM at my time, so it was about 6 or 4 PM end of close, close of yesterday. What I really want to see it do is, the reason I took that, I'll go into that right now first, it's the volume on the daily. As when you see volume like this, normally signifies an end of a trend like we saw here, and we turned around a bit, or start of a trend when we pulled out, and you can go back over the last few years and see the same thing happen over and over. And also we had this anomaly as well. We had this yesterday we had a big wide range candle, and in fact we've had this extra volume coming. We can ignore the anomaly because it's just extra volume coming into the market. Increased volume, increased price, increased volume. But a few days ago we had these narrow range candles, and then we had the, let's link it up. Maybe I misread it, maybe it's another chart. I was looking for a high volume, I think that was actually on SPY actually. We had ignore that. But still high volume. As soon as I saw the high volume coming in yesterday, I wanted to get find an exit, and I kind of waited, and I think I got out about there, just above that area. I put the red line in just as a rough idea to remind myself. And I think that's it really. Go back to MES, nothing's changed. So what we're doing, waiting for the pullback to yesterday's high. This is my A+ setup for the day, one I hope will be a decent trade to watch continue to trend up. Or if we pull all the way back down into the trend line, then I'll be looking for a long as well. And I don't fancy any rejections really, but we could watch these two necklines, which is 51.06 to 51.10 for rejection, or we can watch and the bounce areas are 50.67 and 50.87. They're the areas I'm watching. Okay, hopefully you found this video useful. I will be back. Hopefully I've been a bit lazy because I've not done any trade review videos. I will